invite our keynote speaker, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Fantana. Thank you.
With the permission of His Excellency and distinguished participants, I have the pleasure to invite Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami to stand up for the citation, please. Thank you very much.
On a lighter note, if it had been some other keynote speaker, I would have run out of words because my dean and every other speaker before me has been mentioning his several achievements, but I'm not worried because it is Professor Pantami. The special guest of honor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulu, FNSE, MNI-CON, Executive Governor of Borno State, ably represented by Acting Secretary of State Government, Dr. Mohammed Buluz, also the newly appointed Head of Service, representative of His Royal Highness Alhaji Dr. Abubakar Ibn Al-Kanemi, the Shehu of Borno, the keynote speaker, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, the Vice Chancellor and Chief Host, Professor Muhammad Lamin Umele, ably represented by the Provost, College of Postgraduate Studies, the Principal Officers of University of Maiduguri, Chairman of the occasion, Professor Haruna Santoro Dlakwa, Dean, Faculty of Management Sciences, Provosts, Deans, Directors, representative of the Chief Medical Director, invited dignitaries, staff, students, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to you all. It is my honor and privilege to read the citation of our keynote speaker, the Maji Dadin Daular Usmania, a distinguished scholar, a sheikh, an author, a farmer, consultant, and a cybersecurity expert. Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim, popularly known as Professor Isa Ali Pantami, was born on October 20th, 1972 in Pantami, Gombe State, to the family of Alhaji Ali Ibrahim Pantami and Hajia Amina Umar Aliyu. He began his education at the traditional Quranic school, where he spent over 4 years before attending Pantami Primary School, Gombe. He completed his secondary education at Government Science Secondary School, Gombe in 1993. Professor Pantami obtained a Bachelor of Technology BTech degree in Computer Science at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, ATBU Bauchi in 2003. By 2011, he had completed 2 master's degrees, MSc Computer Science and MBA in Technology Management. He earned a postgraduate certificate in research methods in 2012 and a PhD in Computer Information Systems from Robert Gordon University, Aberdeen, Scotland in 2014. To enhance his expertise, Professor Pantami completed several executive programs at top-ranking institutions, named them Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, University of Sussex, University of Cambridge, London Business School, University of Oxford, and even the prestigious Harvard University, USA. These programs have equipped him with advanced knowledge in leadership and policy, digital transformation, and strategic innovation. Academic and professional career. Professor Pantami began his academic career as a lecturer at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi, teaching programming, multimedia software engineering, and Management Information Systems. In 2014, he joined the Islamic University of Medina, Saudi Arabia, as an assistant professor and head of technical writing, where he taught several courses in the Faculty of Computing and Information Systems. In 2016, President Muhammadu Buhari appointed him Director General, CEO of National Information Technology Development Agency, NITA. During his tenure, he repositioned the agency by initiating key projects such as the Nigerian National Public Key Infrastructure (PKI) program, established digital centers as intervention to over 200 institutions, and awarded several postgraduate scholarships to students of emerging technologies. Professor Pantami also increased internally generated revenue of the agency by over 300%. He continued his academic career with the National Open University of Nigeria, NOUN now, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, and also partnered with several other universities to develop ICT law. He also published in several reviewed journals as the CEO of NIDA and was appointed the first professor of cybersecurity by the Governing Council of the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Futo, in 2021 after successful positive external assessments of his publications. Professor Pantami published over 10 books, several refereed journal articles, and attended over 100 conferences and workshops. Professor Pantami served as Nigeria's Minister of Communications and Digital Economy from 2019 to 2023. Under his leadership, the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy 2020 to 2030, National Broadband Plan 2020 to 2025, Nigeria Startup Act 2022, and Nigeria Data Protection Act 2023 were passed. This led to the establishment of Nigeria Data Protection Commission. He also addressed issues like excessive right-of-way charges and vandalization of telecommunication infrastructure. Professor Pantami also championed the development and implementation of 23 national policies, which increased ICT contribution to GDP to 18.44% and catapulted the sector to become the fastest growing sector of Nigeria's economy in 2020. In the 4 years of his tenure as a minister, he designed and executed a record-breaking 4,366 projects and programs. He also established the first National Artificial Intelligence and Robotics Center in Africa. In 2022, Professor Ibrahim was also appointed by the United Nations through the International Telecommunications Union as the chairman of the World Summit on Information Society. As the chairman, he chaired the Council of 193 Global Digital Economy Ministers. His tenure recorded unprecedented achievements as attested by the Secretary General of ITU and other stakeholders. Professor Pantami is a member of several professional associations within and outside Nigeria, including Fellow, Chartered Institute of Information. I told you shouldn't be worried, I have a lot to read as well. So, Fellow British Society, Computer Society, FBCS, Fellow Nigeria Computer Society, FNCS, Member Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, IEEE, Member Computer Professional Registration Council of Nigeria, CPN, Fellow Cybersecurity and Cybercrime Forensic Group of British Computer Society, among several others. Professor Pantami is the Chancellor of University of Quran and Islamic Sciences in Jazeera. He is on the Board of Trustees of Phoenix University and on the Governing Council of Rayhan University. As the DG and later Minister, he received over 220 awards, both locally and internationally. In 2022, the presidency awarded him with the Award of Excellence in Governance for being the best performing Minister of Creative Thinking and Innovation. He was elected into the Governing Council of ITU of the United Nations in 2022. The federal government of Nigeria also conferred on him a national honor of Commander of the Order of the Niger, CON, in 2023. In terms of community service, Professor Pantami currently teaches and supervises PhD students and partakes in diverse community service locally and internationally. In Nigeria, he has served as a keynote speaker at several universities, colleges of education, and polytechnics, including the National Defense College, Nile University, Federal University, Kashere, Federal University of Technology, Minna, Achievers University, National Intelligence Agency, and now we can include University of Maiduguri. He has also served as keynote speaker during several global events, such as World Mobile Congress, Barcelona, Future Technology Forum, United Kingdom, United States African Leaders Forum, White House, Washington, D.C., Gulf Information Technology Exhibition in Dubai, Global Cybersecurity Forum, Global AI Forum, and LEAP, all in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, among several others. In 2024, Professor Pantami was appointed as the co-chairman by the African Union through the African Scientific Research and Innovation Council to develop the fourth industrial revolution policy and strategy for the continent. He is the sole representative of West Africa on the council. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the pioneer digital minister, cybersecurity expert, and a leading global promoter of social, soft, and technical skills, Professor Ali Isa Ibrahim.
Professor Fatima Alfa has overblown my trumpet. May Allah forgive you. The chairman of the occasion, our elder Professor Haruna Dantoro, the governor of Borno State, His Excellency Professor Babagana Omar Zulum, CON, FNSE, MNI, the representative of Shehu of Borno, the Vice Chancellor of University of Maiduguri, the Dean, Faculty of Management Sciences, Professor Shehu Mustafa Libati, other deans and heads of departments here present, our respected brother Sheikh Madu Mustafa, who is also here present, senior and respected academics here present, professors, associate professors, senior lecturers, and others. Also the principal officers of the university, staff of the faculty, members of the local organizing committee for the conference, and I can see from the gathering some of our respected elder brothers in Bauchi and Gombe, including Borno State, ladies and gentlemen of the press, all other protocols duly and respectfully observed. Good afternoon to all of you. I begin in the name of Allah, the entirely merciful and the especially merciful. May Allah's peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you all. Permit me to begin by appreciating the University of Maiduguri through the Faculty of Management Sciences for inviting me to serve as the keynote speaker for the second international conference organized on the Sustainable Development Goals. I received the invitation last month, and at the time the invitation came to me, I was super busy. While going through the invitation, I discovered that it was flexible. I was given the permission to either be here physically or to join you virtually for the presentation. Immediately, I decided to join the conference virtually. I travel a lot, particularly in the last 1 month. I only returned to Abuja just 2 days ago. On the Sunday night, I received a phone call from our brother, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, the governor, saying that, are you on the way to Maiduguri? I said, no. My plan is to join the conference virtually. Why? I said they gave me that option in the invitation, and he said, no. You have to be here physically. I insisted to join virtually, and he resisted that I must be here virtually. At the end, I had no option but to accept. In the course of my discussion with him, he informed me that the Dean of the Faculty, Professor Sheikh Mustafa Liberty, was on his neck to ensure that I attended the event virtually. I am grateful to physically. I am grateful to the Almighty that I am here with you physically for the conference. Furthermore, the chairman of the occasion, Professor Haruna Dantoro, PhD, and all other titles, has made my presentation easier because he spoke superficially on the goals of the sustainable development and also the wisdom behind formulating the international policy and also the journey so far. I will make an attempt to speak on the topic superficially as well as the keynote speaker, and I do hope that the presentation will make us to appreciate the gist of what the theme is all about. The theme of the conference as presented to me is harnessing sustainable development goals for economic frontiers, opportunities, challenges, and emerging solutions. This is a very important theme and a very important topic, particularly as earlier mentioned by the chairman of the occasion, that the Sustainable Development Goals were formulated in 2015, Gregorian date. Today we are in 2025, and the plan in 2015 was to ensure the implementation of these goals by 2030, within the period of 15 years, from 2015 to 2030. So within these 15 years, we have spent 10 years so far, remaining 5 years. So by implication, we have spent 2/3 of our time for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. The goals were formulated through a joint effort between many countries globally, academics, industry players, policy makers in 2015, with the intention of making sure that the world lives in peace and prosperity for all. These goals are 17 in number. And if you look at them critically, you will discover that they touch the most important components of our life: education, health, security, economy, decent life, justice, among others. In addition, if you look at the goals, 17 of them, you will discover that as we are speaking today, most of them are not implemented effectively in Africa. At the time SDGs were formulated, the whole world population in 2015 was around 7.4 billion. Today, according to the United Nations, the world population is approximately 8.2 billion. So you will discover that within this period of time, almost 800 million people increase within our own population. As of last year, 2024, according to an investigation of the journey so far conducted by the United Nations, if you look at the whole world population, you will realize that 42% of people living globally are living in communities and countries where the goals have been implemented significantly. And this is mostly in Europe, countries like United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, Sweden, Norway, among others. Then North America, America and Canada, then some Asian countries like South Korea, Japan, India, and also Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Oman, Bahrain, and others. In addition, 26% of the world population lives in an area where these goals have been implemented moderately, usually around 50%. Unfortunately, 32% of the world population lives in an area where the goals have not been implemented, and mostly in African countries. If you look at the whole world population today, which is approximately 8.2 billion people, in Africa, our population is approximately 1.5 billion people. And our average age in Africa is 19.2 years old. In addition to that, our entire collective GDP of Africa with 54 countries is around maximum 3.7 trillion USD, which is almost in the same category with the GDP of Japan as a country with a population of less than 160 or 170 million people. While in Africa, our population is 1.5 billion people. So by implication, there is no one country in the whole world that has the population of our continent. The closest one to us today is India, with a population of 1.42 billion, then followed by China. And if you look at the economy of India, of China, for example, with a population of 1.4 billion, you will discover that their collective GDP is approximately 19.8 trillion USD as of December last year, 2024. 19.8 trillion, while the entire continent of Africa, with 1.5 billion people approximately, the collective GDP as of December last year was only 3.7. This is to show to us that we are still struggling to implement these sustainable development goals formulated under the leadership of the United Nations. And these goals are very critical. If you look at them, they are 17 in number, and around 13 are very critical. For example, the goals are, number 1 is end poverty. Read with me. Then number 2 is zero hunger. Number 3 is good health. Number 4 is quality education. Number 5 is gender equality, but I call it gender equity. Then number 6 is clean water. Then number 7, affordable and clean energy. Then number 8, decent work. Then number 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Then number 10, reduced inequalities. Then number 11, sustainable cities and communities. Then number 12 is a sustainable production and consumption. Then number 13, which is the capital action, or the climate action. Then number 14, which is land life below water. Then number 15, life on land. Then number 16 is peace, security, and strong institutions. Then number 17, partnership for all the goals. These are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals as formulated by the United Nations through joint effort of various governments, academics, industry players, policy makers, among others. If you look at these 17 goals, you will strongly agree with me that we are in dire need of them in Africa. In a country like Nigeria, since independence 1960, there are issues that we are still struggling to address. And unfortunately, sometimes instead of making progress, we are diminishing. The issue of end poverty. Definitely, poverty is increasing in our communities. Zero hunger. We move from 10% hunger to even 20 or 30% hunger. Because at the moment we are speaking, having 3 square meals daily is becoming like a luxury. Just like a luxury. Only people that are very important in our communities that can eat 3 square meals in their families. The same we are battling with quality education. We are struggling just for even salary. A professor today is being paid less than $300. If you look at the budget of our education, it's nothing to write home about. And this is not restricted to Nigeria. This is what is being found in many African countries. The only 2 zones or the only 2 regions that have made tremendous progress are North Africa, like Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, and most probably some Southern African countries like South Africa, Botswana, among others. But in West Africa, East Africa, and other regions, we are still battling about how to provide decent education, quality education for our citizens and also for our children. Only last week, I was conducting a research on a paper, and I realized that in the US, in elementary and secondary school, the government spends approximately 18 to 19,000 USD per pupil. 18 to 19,000 USD annually. So if you compute this amount, by implication, government is spending over 30 million per one citizen, just in elementary and secondary schools. In Qatar, they are spending around 17,000 USD per child. But if you compute in Africa, you will discover in some places we are spending less than $400 per child. So it means we have a lot to do in order to provide quality education. There is no doubt about this. So these 17 Sustainable Development Goals are still very relevant, and we have a long way to go towards achieving and addressing them. When it comes to the economic growth, before discussing economic frontiers, economic growth usually is being determined by two factors. Number one is about the size of our economy. Then secondly, the productivity of that economy. And mostly, we have some indicators in order to look into them carefully and make sure and review whether we are making progress or not. There are around 9 to 10 indicators that are very critical. If they look positive, it means our economic growth is positive. If they look negative, then it means our economic growth is negative. Number one is our gross domestic product, which includes the value of goods and services being produced within our country within a period of time, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, or within a year. Then we have the gross domestic product growth rate, meaning when we compare our GDP of last year and the GDP of this year. With this, we will be able to understand the percentage of the progress we are making, which in Nigeria is approximately 3%. Is our growth rate of our GDP. Number three, we have our gross national income. Number four, we have our unemployment rate. Number five, our inflation rate. Number six, our interest rate. Number seven, our poverty. Number eight, our productivity. Number nine, our PPP. And number 10, our skills development. These are the indicators that will always guide us whether our economy is positive or negative. When it comes to our GDP, definitely Nigeria was the leading country 3 years ago. Today, we are in between third or fourth. South Africa and Egypt overtook us. Our growth rate is around 3%, and the actual target is supposed to be around a minimum of 70%. When it comes to our GDP per head, which to me is even more important than the collective GDP. GDP per head is the average, where you have the total number of your GDP divided by the total number of your population, so that we will know averagely what each and every citizen is spending or is contributing within our economy. Take, for example, the GDP per head, per capita of Luxembourg in Europe, as we are speaking today, is 142,000 USD, meaning averagely each citizen is involved in producing or consuming 142,000 USD annually. So if you compute this amount, you will discover that it's over 230 million naira. But our GDP per head in Africa collectively is around 3,000 USD. In Nigeria, it's 2,900 USD. And even the best in Africa is countries like Seychelles, which is 21,000 USD, followed by Mauritius, which is 12,000, then followed by Gabon, 9,000 USD, followed by Equatorial Guinea, 8,000, then followed by Botswana, which is 6,000, then followed by Libya, also 6,000, then followed by South Africa, 6,000, for example. So countries in Europe and sometimes Asia, like for example Singapore, is 127,000 USD. 127, but the best in Africa is 21,000 USD. If you maybe countries also like Ireland, you will discover is around 115,000 USD. Qatar is around 114,000 USD. But in Africa, the best is 21,000 USD. And this is a country with a population of less than 1 million people. So this is to show to us that when it comes to our economic growth in Africa, even though we have spent 2/3 of our time for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goal, but when it comes to our result, nothing is encouraging. And all the goals are still very relevant, and we are in dear need of them in Africa. When it comes to economic frontiers, that is the untapped opportunities. There are many of them. We have so many opportunities in Africa that we have not been utilizing. And this is indeed highly worrisome. We have so many opportunities that are untapped with regards to our natural resources, with regards to our population, with regards to our productivity, with regards to our industries, with regards to our academic institutions, and even government offices. There are many opportunities that we fail to leverage on and make sure that we make progress significantly. In addition, permit me to speak superficially on the opportunities, then challenges, and finally the emerging solutions. And I will make an attempt to reconcile the economic frontiers with the emerging solutions in order to save time. When it comes to opportunities, there are many opportunities that we can benefit from SDGs. I will make an attempt to mention maybe 5 of them. Number 1 is job creation. In Africa as a continent, we are struggling to address the challenge of unemployment on one hand and unemployability on the other. Because our challenge in Africa, and the same in Nigeria, as I always argue, is not just the problem of unemployment, but we still have the problem of unemployability, which is indeed very worrisome. A situation where a graduate comes to you with his certificate, but when you give him the opportunity to work, you will find him wanting. He doesn't have the skills to do the work. Some, when you employ them as engineers or computer scientists or cyber experts, you need to train them. Not only basic guidance, you need to train them. Because of what? Because we prioritize theory in our classes and schools rather than hands-on training. And there is a justification for that. Why? We cherish your class of degree. You want to apply for NNPC, I think their staff is here. It is published, you must have a second class upper. CBN, you must have a second class upper degree. But still in the Constitution of Nigeria, with a secondary certificate of NECO, you can become a president. Minimum requirement of becoming a president is secondary certificate. Vice president is secondary certificate. President of the Senate, secondary certificate. Speaker, secondary certificate. To become a minister is secondary certificate. But for you to be employed by CBN or NNPC, you must have a degree. Not all degrees, there are some restrictions. Either first class or second class offer, and you must be less than 30 years old again. So because of this, the mindset of our students usually is not about what is being taught in the class, it's how to get at least 2-1. If you come to your class and say, there are 2 options. You either stay in the class and attend all our lectures, write your test, homework, and your exam, and I will give you the grade you earn, either A, B, C, D, or E. And if you fail, I can give you your F and go. Or I can give you B, and you don't need to come to the class. No test, no attendance, no homework, no examination. 99% are more comfortable with getting the degree without attending the course. So because of this, our mindset is about our grades, not what we are being taught. Why? Because of the challenges of the labor market. It's all about your course and your class of degree. So the challenge or the challenges of unemployment and unemployability can significantly be addressed through sustainable development goals. According to the United Nations Development on Trade, they argue that there are millions of jobs and opportunities being provided by the Sustainable Development Goals. Part and infrastructure, industry, innovation, and skills, there is no innovation. There is no industry. And also, there is no any means to be attained. So there are a substantial number of opportunities. And at the same time, if you look at emerging technologies, in the area of artificial intelligence only, according to the World Economic Forum 2022, artificial intelligence, million new jobs by this year 2025. 90 opportunity being provided by the Sustainable Development Goals, because artificial intelligence is part and parcel of innovation. That is the digital innovation. So the challenge of unemployment on one hand and the challenge of can be addressed, can be eliminated or significantly be reduced by at least adopting the Sustainable Development Goals. Number 2, opportunity has to do with investment opportunity. Investment opportunity is key when it comes to the implementation of Sustainable Development Goals. According to the United Nations Development Program and also Oxford Economics, that for the implementation of the 17 SDGs, each and every year, we need an investment of a minimum of 5 to 7 trillion USD. 5 to 7 trillion USD. So this is almost double the GDP of Africa as a continent. And if this amount is to be invested, then definitely you will discover that countries that are struggling when it comes to job opportunities, attracting investment, will be able to achieve this at ease. and one of them is Nigeria. And it is important to realize that when it comes to investment, we need to come up with policies that are flexible so that between our countries in Africa and the investors, we are going to have a win-win situation. And this is indeed very important. When you provide ease of doing business, you will realize that it is easier to attract foreign direct investment into your country. This is what is being found today in United Arab Emirates, in Asia, in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Because of what? Because of that ease of doing business. In Africa, this is what is being found even in Egypt recently, where UAE signed an agreement to invest a minimum of 40 billion USD into the economy of Egypt. And this amount is almost double our GDP, or rather almost double of our federal budget of 2024. And this is only an investment by one nation. So it is important to attain this. We must work harder when it comes to providing that enabling environment and making investment much, much easier for foreign direct investors, like visa on arrival, process of registering a company to be done within 24 hours, many opportunities like tax holiday, like pioneer status, among others. With this, we will be able to attract more and more. And I want to use the opportunity also to encourage our universities that we all agree that funding education in Nigeria is insufficient. There is no doubt about this. As we try to push government to invest more at state and federal level, between the state higher institutions and the federal higher institutions, we need to think out of the box and see how our institutions can also attract revenue, like renewable energy. There are many opportunities, and this is what is being found in other countries. And this is indeed very important. Number 3 opportunity is innovation and entrepreneurship. Innovation and entrepreneurship are 2 opportunities that are interwoven, provided by the Sustainable Development Goals. This innovation and entrepreneurship are the 2 prerequisites to even building a sustainable and successful digital economy globally. And this innovation and entrepreneurship concept are the 2 ingredients adopted by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the US, and that makes the university to be very successful. I was appointed as the champion of MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, in 2019 up to 2021 under a program entitled Regional Entrepreneurship Acceleration Program. The program has been very successful. Under innovation and entrepreneurship, MIT as a university, in 2016 there was a research conducted which has been entitled as the MIT Nation, like the MIT country. If MIT, in 2016, if MIT were to be a country, the collective GDP of their serial entrepreneurs was higher than the GDP of India as a country, with a population of 1.4 billion people as of 2016, 9 years ago. The serial entrepreneurs of MIT, their collective GDP in 2016 was almost 2 trillion USD. By implication, is more than 8 times the GDP of Nigeria as a country. And this is only the GDP of their graduates. Because of what? Because of the way and manner they adopt innovation and entrepreneurship. And I'm glad to hear that we have a department of entrepreneurship in this university and under this faculty. This is highly commendable, but let us try to make sure that the entrepreneurship is more about providing skills to the students rather than the theoretical aspect of the entrepreneurship. Because in Nigeria, A PhD graduate of entrepreneurship will only update his CV roaming about seeking for a job. So this is very important, innovation and entrepreneurship. There are many opportunities in innovation, particularly under the fourth industrial revolution, through emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, blockchain technology, quantum computing, cloud computing, nanotechnology, biotechnology, augmented reality, virtual reality, among others. There are many opportunities. Just an example of how innovation and entrepreneurship are becoming very successful. In 2016, a young Nigerian graduated from our universities here. He couldn't find any job, and he left for the US. After arriving in the US, he partook in critical thinking. He discovered a challenge of lack of a map through navigating their communities. He developed an app named HubSpot. That app was purchased by Apple in the US after he left Nigeria without any job. Apple company purchased that startup from him at the price of 1 billion USD. 1 billion USD. So 1 billion USD, if you convert it to Naira, how much? To Naira, if you take the exchange rate 1,600 Naira, 1 billion USD, it will give you what? 1.6 trillion Naira. And this is a young Nigerian who left this country without any job. Six years ago, a Syrian who was born in Britain by name Mustafa Sulaiman attended a university. He couldn't graduate. He left the university. He started working on artificial intelligence. I'm not telling you or advising you to leave your university. Please proceed with your studies. I'm only giving you the example to know how to navigate through the difficulty and challenges of life. That is only the example. But I'm not discouraging you from obtaining your BSc or BTech or B Engineering or BA or MSc or PhD. Please go ahead and do that. But don't put all your hopes in your certificate. With or without that, make sure that you can leave. After leaving the university without graduating, he developed a startup company. That startup company was purchased at the price of 400 million pounds. And a year later, he was appointed by Microsoft to be the CEO of Microsoft AI globally. As I'm speaking to you, he is the CEO of Microsoft Artificial Intelligence globally. This is to show to us that we can leverage on innovation and entrepreneurship and be successful in life. Are you following? Then number 4, sustainable development goal will improve our education and our health condition. And this is very important. In our education, this is one of them. Some of our commentators and participants join us here virtually. So distance is no more a challenge today that can prevent you from learning. Distance is not a challenge that can completely stop you from skilling or reskilling or upskilling or cross-skilling, as the case may be. Go online and discover many content being provided by Harvard University, MIT, Cambridge, Oxford for free. And through them, you can build your skills. You can improve your education. When it comes to health, and look at AI today in research, the way AI is making research, but unfortunately, is making many academics to become too lazy, particularly students. Because if care is not taken, many students will not even do any research in the future. Because whatever you need, they will just go to AI, download and submit it. This is a very wrong decision. Always partake in critical thinking. You may need to seek the help of AI, but don't rely on that. Make sure that the main research is being conducted by you and you alone. And this is very important. And the same in health. In health, there are opportunities being provided by Sustainable Development Goals under innovation. Only 2 months ago, a surgery was conducted between Asia and Europe. The distance between the doctor and the patient was over 4,000 kilometers. With the support of 5G, artificial intelligence, robotics, virtual reality, machine learning, and others, the surgery was conducted successfully. 2 years ago, a surgery was conducted between China and America. Look at the gap, the distance between the two countries. But it was conducted, why? Because 5G can give you almost real-time communication. A surgery was conducted to address Parkinson. This is to show to us that this is another avenue where we can leverage on in our health system and be successful. In the next few years, you may not wish to travel physically for some medical attentions. A team of joint doctors from England and University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital can work together on a patient without traveling physically. In the next few years, even for you, you may wish to even travel for holiday virtually. If the economy is biting, you can convince your family that instead of traveling physically, let us use virtual reality. From here in Maiduguri, using 5G and virtual reality, you can take your wife to London, visit some shops for her to see. You move to Dubai, visit some shops in Dubai. You move also to New York. From New York, you took her to Medina to visit the Masjid of the Prophet. You went to Mecca at least to see everything. After that, you can shop online for her and spend a few dollars, and after some days, home delivery. And that is all. It's a virtual holiday. But I believe you need a lawyer to convince her to accept the virtual holiday. And number 5, there is an opportunity of attaining decent life under the 4th Industrial Revolution when it comes to peace, when it comes to justice, either retributive justice or distributive justice or equality before the law, as the case may be. So we will be able to have a decent society, and also sustainable cities and communities is also very relevant. So these are some of the major benefits that we can attain through the Sustainable Development Goals. When it comes to challenges, there are many also. Number 1 major challenge being confronted by African countries when it comes to SDGs. Number 1, poor financing. You will discover that many important sectors in Africa are being confronted with the challenge of poor financing. It's the same in health, the same in agriculture, the same in economy, the same in education. Our critical sectors, if you discover, you will realize that they are underfunded. This is our major challenge. Sometimes the reason of that is we fail to understand our scale of preference. We don't have science of prioritization. In our projects in government, sometimes we don't get our priority right. In a country, or in a community where there is no potable drinking water, we will spend unnecessary amount of money constructing certain projects that are not important. Some of them are of secondary importance. This is one of it. So sometimes it's poor financing because of lack of resources, sometimes lack of priority. We don't have good priorities. So this is our major challenge in Africa, number one, and other developing countries. We hardly get our priority right. Number two challenge is very weak institutions and lack of collaboration between them. And if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, under number 16 is very clear about establishing strong institutions. If we don't have strong institutions, then it is difficult to attain them. Many people don't know how CEOs, like vice chancellors, provosts of our colleges, rectors, are suffering when it comes to even their budget defense. Some of them, if care is not taken, we are making our institutions very weak. I was the DG NIDA, as earlier mentioned in my citation. Before spending 1 week in office, I was invited by the National Assembly 3 times. So sometimes it's even difficult for you to be allowed to do the work. Some of the demands that will come to you are very informal, and you don't even know how to address them. And they will ask you to go and think out of the box and address them. While thinking out of the box in this situation could even be illegal. I am not condemning all our senators and members, but most of them, only few of them, I hope you understand what I mean. So sometimes some institutions of government are not allowing other institutions to function effectively. And this is another major challenge. And when it comes to collaboration, there is another challenge. There is lack of collaboration in Africa between key stakeholders. When it comes to innovation, I always emphasize on the need of a collaboration between government, academia, and industry. These three are critical. There must be a constant interaction between government, academia, and industry. Government will provide laws, funding, policies, and policy direction. Academia partakes in research, innovation, development, among others, while industry is where the real skill is available. So when there is constant interaction between government, academia, and industry, you will discover that the result is encouraging. The outcome is encouraging. None of them is an island. There must be a constant interaction before we turn things around. Without doing that, we can hardly achieve. As earlier recited in my citation, I was in Cambridge. If you go to the University of Cambridge, you'll discover the whole community, the whole university was surrounded by industries. Why? Because of the need for that collaboration. From first year to final year, students do have access to world-class skills, not only what they are being taught in class. And all these industries, when they need research, they will provide research funding to universities to conduct. When they conduct the research, they will present to them for implementation. When there is need for a law, that research can be escalated to government to formulate a law or policy as the case may be. And this is the same with MIT in the US. I was there before. The same with even some of the developing countries like Indian Institute of Technology. Indian Institute of Technology, they adopt the same model of this constant interaction between academia, government, and industry, a very constant interaction. Indian Institute of Technology, IIT, there are many campuses in the country. The university was established in early 1960s, you will discover that averagely, each graduate of the university is an employer of 100 people globally, each graduate. Because the university produces potential employers rather than potential employees. Why? Because from first year to final year, students have this privilege of having a constant interaction with industry, where they always go to industry after working hours. And they are not only being provided with class teaching, but they go to the industry and see things practically. And some of them are being employed even before their graduation. So this collaboration is very important, and we need to promote it. And these opportunities of job creation today, through collaboration, we can achieve a lot, like in renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, or digital agriculture. If you take digital agriculture, it's another area where the collaboration will be effective. Take, for example, the Netherlands as a country here in Europe. The population of the Netherlands is averagely the same with either that of Lagos or Kano. And the landmass of the Netherlands is just a little higher than is less than the landmass of Borno State. There are 6 states in Nigeria. Each and every one of them is larger than the Netherlands. Niger State with around 76,000 square kilometers. Borno State with 71 million kilometers. Then Taraba with around 56. Then Kaduna, Bauchi, and Yobe around 42,000 square kilometers. If you take these states, each and every one is larger than the Netherlands as a country. But what the Netherlands generates through agriculture, sustainable and digital agriculture annually, is more than what Nigeria generates through oil and gas. For example, in 2017 to 2018, Nigeria generated less than 10 million USD through oil and gas, but the Netherlands generated over 130 billion USD through agriculture. And up to this moment, what we are generating through oil and gas is by far less than what they generate through agriculture. Through agriculture today, SDG, there is what is called soilless farming. Even without soil, you can partake in farming. There is a vertical farming. You deploy artificial intelligence, robotics, among others. You reduce consumption of water by 95%, fertilizer by 97%, and you enhance the efficiency and the productivity. So this is another opportunity, but that can hardly be attained without collaboration between government, academia, and industry, as the case may be. So this is another challenge that we must try to address, to promote constant interaction between these 3, government, academia, and industry. Number 3 challenge is lack of skill development, which is related to the second one. We hardly prioritize providing skills to our population. This is an area that we must work harder. And when I say skill, it doesn't mean the vocational skills. We need soft skills, we need social skills, we need technical skills. All these 3 are very important, and we partake in reskilling, upskilling, and cross-skilling. In the 4th Industrial Revolution, even if you graduate, it's not the end of your studies. You need to partake in constant learning. Self-improvement and self-development are very important, and they will make you to continue to be relevant in whatever you do. And this is indeed very important. Number 4 challenge in Africa is lack of accountability is also affecting our institution. Corruption is one of them. Usually, the amount budgeted could not be spent. Sometimes the amount is being spent based on personal interest. So these are some of the major challenges that we are being confronted. And number 5, lack of infrastructure when it comes to water, power, roads, and many more. We are struggling to have even 24 hours supply. It's difficult. Usually, many institutions are switching to renewable energy. We are relying on solar. In some communities, you can spend 24 hours without even having light for 1 minute or even 1 second. There is no way you can promote economy without power. Power is key. And that is why if you look at the goals of SDG, it includes affordable and clean energy. Affordable and clean energy. But today, sometimes because of the cost of power, there is light, but you will decide to switch it off because you cannot afford it. In Abuja, initially there was no any ban A, ban B, ban C. Accidentally, many bans were introduced. And I found myself in ban A. And it's the most difficult and also the most expensive one. A bill was brought to me after a month. What we consume at home increased by more than 400% in that month. A house where you used to pay 200,000 naira, you will discover is 800,000 naira to 1 million naira. If a lecturer is living in Abuja, a professor is living in Abuja, in Ban A, definitely, if he has 3 to 4 bedroom flat, definitely his salary can hardly pay his NEPA bill. Not to talk of potable water or health or education, even to pay the bill. That is the reality of the situation. So we lack infrastructure. Where there is, it is not affordable. It is difficult. Then the emerging solutions. The fourth industrial revolution brought out many emerging solutions. That is the growth frontiers, the untapped opportunities. As we all know that formally, the world has witnessed 4 industrial revolutions. The first industrial revolution took place in the United Kingdom, particularly in Manchester and Liverpool in the 18th century, with the invention of steam power or steam energy. So the entire fourth industrial revolution was largely on steam power and steam energy, because prior to the invention of steam power, world used to leverage on human energy or animal energy to convey load from one place to another. But with the invention of steam power or steam energy, then transportation becomes much easier. So this is the major invention. At that time, when steam power was invented, the whole world was dominated by agriculture and just some form of trades, like trade by barter. Then the second industrial revolution was the invention of electricity, mass production, communication, among others, which took place in the 19th century, even though the second industrial revolution was significantly halted and disrupted by the Second World War. So electricity was invented. Mass production was during the second industrial revolution. Radio was invented. Telephone was invented by Alexander Bell. And most of the theories and research conducted by Albert Einstein were in the second industrial revolution. Then the third industrial revolution, which took place in the 20th century, the second industrial revolution took place in the UK, then Germany, Belgium, and France. The United Kingdom was leading. These countries were following the UK. They were called chess group. They were chasing the United Kingdom when it comes to invention. Then the third industrial revolution took place in Europe and America. And there were 2 new entries from Asia, that is Japan and Australia as well. They joined the third industrial revolution. In the third industrial revolution in the 20th century, the world witnessed the invention of internet, world wide webs, HTTP, IP, among others. And even the globalization, where you witness things live on television, but mostly with one-way communication. So this took place, all these inventions took place in the third industrial revolution, in Europe, America, and some parts of Asia, and even Australia. Then the fourth industrial revolution that we are witnessing today. And the fourth industrial revolution brings about many emerging solutions. Solutions to security, solutions to education, solutions to health, solutions to justice, solution to decent life, solution to sustainable cities and communities. And if you look at the fourth industrial revolution that brought about emerging technologies or disruptive technologies like artificial intelligence, robotics, quantum computing, Internet of Things, datafication of society, among others, you will discover that in all these innovations, there are effective solutions to our challenges in Africa with regards to the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. There is no doubt about this. And that is why the world economy today is being led by innovation, not by natural resources. It's by innovation, not by natural resources. The world economy is all about knowledge-based economy rather than resource-based economy. The highest GDP in the world today is America, according to the IMF. Recently, their GDP reached up to 29 trillion USD, followed by China with around 19.8 to 19.9 trillion USD. 3 years before, it was Germany, the third, but now it's Japan with around 3.7 trillion USD, sometimes up to 4.1 a year before. Then followed by Germany. Before, it was the UK in the fifth position, but now it's India. After India, then the UK. So if you look at the countries, they are not leveraging on natural resources, but rather they are leveraging on technological innovation to drive their economy. And this is the most effective way, there is no doubt about this. And the example we earlier cited with regards to the Netherlands is a good example. This is less than that 6 states in Nigeria, but they are generating 10 times higher than what we generate through oil and gas in our country. So the emerging solutions are undoubtedly in emerging technologies. And there is no doubt that Africa is still lagging behind. In Nigeria, while in office in 2022, we developed the Nigeria Startup Act. This is to provide an enabling environment for our young innovators to come up with innovative ideas that can promote our economy. And this is indeed very important. I encourage our academics and students to leverage on Nigeria Startup Act. If we go through, there are so many opportunities where government will provide funding for research, for innovation. And unfortunately, many fail to leverage on. Based on the provision of the law, government must budget a minimum of 10 billion naira annually just to support innovation. And this innovation and innovative ideas are being found on our campuses like University of Maiduguri. So this is a very important piece of legislation that I strongly advise our academics and our students to look into and see how we can turn things around. It is important to know that we need to turn things around. As it is today, most of the African countries are consumers. We can hardly be successful in implementing SDGs until we become producers and manufacturers. And this is indeed very important. And we don't have shortage of talent in Africa. There is no shortage of talent in Nigeria. What we are lacking usually is mentorship, funding, enabling environment, among others. And I believe that the academia has a role to play. And I do hope my time is off. I do hope that at the end of this conference, we will be able to come up with some effective recommendations for government, for academia, and for industry. We spend 2/3 of our time for the implementation of SDGs. We have only 1/3. Time is of the essence. I do hope that we will challenge ourselves, as we earlier say, that if you want to be met, so okay, we came to the University of Maiduguri, and I do hope that we will have innovative ideas and innovative solutions that will turn things around in order to promote our economy in Nigeria and in Africa. Once again, thank you all for listening. Brother, police, Jim.
Baka answering Claron call
Well done.
Menene?
Well done.
It's not a call the appeal the baka answering ba. You need to at least let us hear from you.
The dean has reminded me that I refused to respond to his appeal. Thank you very much for the appeal. Number 2, your appeal is being considered. Number 3, the announcement of yes or no is going to be made at the right time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much, Prof, for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you, Head of Service. Thank you.
We are short of time. We are coming close to the end of this ceremony. We are from the planners, and I'd like to invite His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana, President, FSC, MNI, to come and provide the ability to declare the conference open. His Excellency is represented by the new Head of Service, Dr. Mohammed Hussein. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. The chairman of this occasion, Professor Dakwa, former Vice Chancellor, acting Vice Chancellor of Borno State University, now renamed Kashim Ibrahim University, Maiduguri. The Chief Host, who is also the Vice Chancellor of the University of Maiduguri, the keynote speaker, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Fantami, former Minister of Communication and Digital Economy of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, representative of the Royal Father of the day, the Dean Faculty of Management Sciences, Registrar, and other principal officers of the university, special advisors, senior special advisors, permanent secretaries here present, distinguished speakers and participants, students, invited guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. His Excellency wanted to be here personally, but for another important engagement which he had by law to conduct that occasion, which is the presentation of staff of office to the Shehu of Burma, and therefore directed to present him. Therefore, I'm going to read his address. It is a pleasure to be at the University of Maiduguri for the opening ceremony of the second International Conference of the Faculty of Management Sciences. The conference theme, Harnessing Sustainable Development Goals Towards Expanding Economic Frontiers, opportunities, challenges, and emerging solutions is timely and relevant. The Sustainable Development Goals adopted by the United Nations in 2015 have been challenging to implement globally, with bleak statistics across all indicators. In the Lake Chad region, insecurity and desiccation have complicated these challenges. In Borno State, we launched the 25-year development framework and 10-year strategic transformation plan in June 2020. This initiative aligns with the conference themes and sub-themes, and we will follow the conference closely, noting practical aspects for implementation. We are interested to see the 25-year development framework and 10-year strategic initiative have been adopted by the meeting of the governors of the Chad Basin states as a working document and guide for future development. The choice of Professor Ali Ibrahim Fantami as the keynote speaker demonstrates the conference's seriousness. His advocacy for combining academic excellence with practical skills is a template we intend to use in our relationships with universities and research centers. Our engagement with the University of Maiduguri has begun, and we plan to make it sustainable, establishing the university as a hub of knowledge and skills for the Chad Basin and Central Africa. The guest speakers' expertise from academia and industry will make this year's international workshop exciting and productive. Undoubtedly, the faculty's quality leadership under Professor Shehu Mustafa Libati and Professor Fatima Al-Fatahir has taken the faculty to the next enviable and desirous level. We congratulate the heads of department, coordinators, staff, and students of the faculty. Evidently, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Mohamed Laminu Mele, and his team have created an enabling environment for such important international discussions to take place in the university. We hope this international workshop achieves its objectives and are pleased to be associated with it. On this note, it is my singular honor and pleasure to declare the second International Conference of the Faculty of Management Sciences, University of Maiduguri, open. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for declaring the
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes?
This
Go on, yeah, go on.
presentation of awards. First category of award goes to His Excellency the Governor of Borno State.
Ni ko shi.
Faculty of Management Sciences in Nigeria to present this award to Your Excellency. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. One still standing, sir. No, sir. Please wait for us, sir. We still have another presentation. The second award goes to Mele Kiarikolo, to be also presented by the Vice Chancellor. So, Representative Mr. Chinedu.
On behalf of the Faculty of Management Sciences, it is my pleasure to bring this award to you.
Thank you. The third award, also presented by the Vice Chancellor to the Shehu of Borno, and this award will be received by Professor Bulakarima, sir.
On behalf of the Faculty of Management Sciences, it is my pleasure to present this award to you. Thank you very much. I received the award on behalf of His Royal Highness the Shehu of Borno. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. The next award goes to Professor Isa Ali Pantami, and this award will be presented by Sheikh Madu Mustafa. Thank you very much, Sheikh. Thank you very much. So the next award will be given to the Vice Chancellor, Professor Mohamed Lamin Mele, and this will be presented by Professor Pantami.
I'm able to present this appreciation award to the Vice Chancellor of the University on behalf of the Faculty of Management Sciences in appreciation of his invaluable and generous support towards the successful hosting of the second international conference of the Faculty of Management Sciences of the University of Maiduguri.
Thank you, sir. We also wish to crave your indulgence. Professor Pantami, we crave your indulgence to remain to present the next award to the chairman of the occasion, Professor Dilakwa.
On behalf of the Faculty of Management Sciences of the University of Maiduguri, I present this plaque to Professor Haruna Dantoro, Dilapa, PhD, and all other titles. And generous support towards the successful hosting of the second international conference of the
Just one more, sir. There's one more. This award goes to Dr. Shetima Baba, representative of NNPC, who also collected on behalf of Dr. Shetima Baba.
This is an appreciation award by the Faculty of Management Sciences of the University of auspiciation of this second international conference.
Thank you very much, sir. You can have your seat. The next set of award goes to Professor Mohammed Ayru Madawaki. And this will be presented by Professor Mohammed Munkaila. Professor Mohammed Madawaki will be given this award for being the pioneer dean that introduced the Faculty of Management Sciences International Conference.
On behalf of Faculty of Management Sciences, it is my pleasure and sincere honor to present this award to you. Thank you very much.
Professor Munkala will please kindly stay to give this award to Professor Fatima Al-Fatahir, Deputy Dean.
Again, on behalf of the Faculty of Management Sciences, it is my sincere honor and privilege to present to you Professor Fatima Al-Fatahir, serving Faculty of Social Management Science, this award.
Thank you very much. We will now crave the indulgence of the Dean, Faculty of Management Sciences, to please be here to present this award to Professor Opeyemi Kainde Akinyini, Chairperson LOC Committee. Professor Opeyemi.
You know, Professor Opeyemi has been the integral for both the first and second international conference of the faculty. So this is my single honor prayer on behalf of the organizing committee and the faculty to present this award to Professor Opeyemi Kainde, the chairperson of the NOC, in appreciation of her valuable and generous support towards the successful launching of the second international conference of the Faculty of Management Sciences, University of Maiduguri. Thank you very much.
Professor Opeyemi, you are going to remain and deliver the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Good afternoon once again, our distinguished guests, friends. Okay. Standing by existing protocol, I wish to appreciate everybody for coming. First of all, I give all praise and adoration to God for making today a success, for keeping all of us alive, for giving the conference organizing committee the strength to pull all of this up. I wish to thank all our sponsors for being so supportive. We pray that God will continue to bless you. To our distinguished keynote speaker, thank you very much, sir, for honoring our invitation. To every eminent personality here, we say thank you. And God bless you as we take our leave. Thank you.